So stop trying to rush this process. Bulking, cutting, anything like that, it doesn't have to be an overnight thing. 6 weeks is not enough. Commit to a longer timeline. Really give yourself an opportunity to learn a little bit more about your body as well. Yo, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Battle Ready Show. For those of you that are new here, my name is Byron Ovenstone. Guys, today I wanted to deep dive a little bit into bulking. And there's a reason for it, because unfortunately, most people do it wrong. Most people are similar to Byron 1.0, where you're far too rushed. You want a result far too quick. So what do? You inevitably go all in, too hard, too fast. You ask for too much and ultimately put on a bunch of fat, which is not what we're looking for. And then you go into another cut and nothing changes. You basically go from fat to thin to fat to thin, but you don't give yourself enough time to build muscle mass and truly get a result that you're shooting for. Your instant gratification meter goes through the roof, and ultimately you're looking for a result that's not going to come because you're not playing a long enough game. So one of the methodologies that I've implemented over time is I go from 18-week cycles, right? I just feel that that's a much better timeline. It's an opportunity for you to really do something that gets sustainable results, but you're not crash dieting in the process. So like Byron 1.0, he would bulk and cut every 6 weeks. Bulk for 6 weeks, cut for 6 weeks, bulk for 6 weeks, cut for 6 weeks. And not a whole hell of a lot would change. If I gained a pound or two, maybe that'll be awesome, and then I'd lose a pound or two, and hey man, we're back to where we start. Or worst case scenario, we do something really stupid like a 5,000 calorie a day diet when your maintenance calories are maybe like 2,200, and just get super fat. And then you have to now cut away all that fat in 6 weeks or less. So what do we go about doing this, or how do we go about doing this? You ultimately look at it in an 18-week cycle. So if your maintenance calories are 3,000, I typically like to go a bump of 5%, increase the way in which I train, manipulate my macros slightly, so increase the carbohydrate intake so that I ultimately get more energy through the lift. That's going to allow me to put more output out, and then stack more muscle mass. So the stronger I get, at a point, that 5% increase won't be enough. In about 2 to 3 weeks of lifting really heavy and pushing limitations, that 5% bump that I took is not going to be enough. And then I bump it by 5% again. But if I go all in and I'm like a 5,000 increased calorie from 3,000, now I'm in a 2,000 calorie surplus. Far too much. What ends up happening, you get that fat face going on, you start getting love handles, everything gets a little bit too wobbly down here, and you go from fat to skinny to fat to skinny. Versus this way, you're taking micro changes over time and ultimately getting to a point where you can build more muscle mass, and then that 5% increase that you took on borderline becomes your new maintenance, because you put on enough muscle mass on the frame to require that extra 5% as maintenance calories. And then as soon as that happens, you'll start seeing yourself kind of start leaning out a little bit again, and your appetite will go through the roof. You'll be like, oh man, I'm still hungry after my 3,200 calories. Cool. At that point, you bump it by a 5% again, and you keep rinsing and repeating over an 18-week cycle. By the time you get to about the 18th week, your new calorie intake is probably 4,000, 4,200, there or thereabouts, but you're not getting super fat in the process. You're putting on size, but you're putting on muscle mass in a very good proportion, and you're fueling that muscle mass adequately. Once you've done that, now when you go into a cut and you cut by 5%, you keep your calories nice and high for initially. You don't go crazy to like 1,800 calories and starve all the weight off of you, and then lose all of the muscle you just worked 18 weeks to put on. You reverse it the other way around, and you do the exact same process. You keep lifting heavy, keep your protein numbers nice and high, maybe mess with your carbs and your fats just a little bit, and all of a sudden you start tearing away at that body fat percentage, and you go from being Byron 1.0, nearly 300 pounds, to the guy who didn't know what he was doing and basically starved himself down to 180. So that's not really a good sign of strength, right? You basically got to a point where you're super skinny and you have abs, cool, but you can't lift anything, you're tired, you're fatigued, you have no energy, and a bunch of stuff is just not going your way. Instead, once I then went the other route and I decided, hey man, I don't really like being 180. It's way too skinny. I don't enjoy this process. I feel like a boy in a man's world. Start stacking on some mass. again, because I was not as well versed as I am now, went about a little bit too aggressively, got super fat again. Not super fat, but to the point where I was like 20% body fat, which I don't really enjoy being around those numbers. So I started torching it back again. But the point is that once you get into this flow and you understand that this is actually a marathon and you have a lot more time than you think, you don't without pissing off a ton of people, amateurs bulk and cut every 6 weeks because that's about as quick as they want to get a result, and they think that they can do that in 6 weeks. You can't. It's just not enough time to truly invest in the process. So rather than going all in and doing a 6 week bulk, 6 week cut, and not seeing a whole hell of a lot of change in your physique, really commit to a slower process, 18 weeks, 24 weeks, that kind of thing, where you just hyper focus in on your training, on your protocol, on how you're lifting, time under tension, hypertrophy, increasing volume, all of that good stuff that's ultimately going to stack on a ton of muscle mass, which is just metabolically active tissue. For those of you that don't know, the more metabolically active tissue you have on the frame, the more calories you burn at rest. The more calories you burn at rest, the more leaner, healthier, stronger you become if you fuel yourself the right way. And then when you start wanting to cut, if you take a 5% calorie off the table, now your body's like, oh damn, I need to find that 5% from somewhere, which is not a shit ton of calories. So it's not going to start hunting down the muscle mass that you've put on the frame. It's going to go, oh, that little bit of fat over here that you have, yeah, I'm going to take that. And that little bit of fat you have over here, yeah, I'm going to take it. And I'm going to take a little bit from here. And before you know it, you're lean, chiseled, you look good with your shirt off, you feel good, you occupy space, and everything kind of flows nicely from that point on. So stop trying to rush this process. Bulking, cutting, anything like that, it doesn't have to be an overnight thing. 6 weeks is not enough. Commit to a longer timeline. Really give yourself an opportunity to learn a little bit more about your body as well. Like 5,000 calories from a pizza versus 5,000 calories from chicken, rice, broccoli, etc. Very different breakdown, very different results on your body. So start paying attention. One of the things that was an absolute game changer for me was a food journal. I would literally write down my meals and how I felt 30 minutes later, just on a score of 1 to 5. 1 being I felt like shit, 5 being I felt awesome. And then I would pay attention to how those numbers changed over the course of the day. What happened? Okay, I ate chicken, rice, and broccoli, and I felt a 4. Okay, cool. I ate steak, asparagus, and mashed potato. Oh, I felt a 3. Damn. Okay, now I start mixing up those combinations, and all of a sudden I realize, oh man, okay, when I eat mashed potato, I have a crash, for argument's sake. Or when I eat white rice, I have a crash. Okay, cool, less white rice, more mashed potato. Or more mashed potato, less white rice, whatever. But once you start paying attention and you understand what your body functions on better, now when you start getting a little bit leaner, healthier, stronger, you can start paying attention to your energy levels as well. Because just because you get lean doesn't mean you have to be low on energy. You get low on energy because you're fueling yourself with the wrong stuff. So pay attention to what fuels you the right way versus what saps your energy from over there. So those are little bit tricks, tips, and opportunities for you guys to start bulking and cutting in the right kind of way. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You guys don't need to bulk and cut every 6 weeks. You're just not going to get the results that you're looking for. This is not a crash diet process. You're on this earth for a very long time. Why not invest in you and get the best version of you to come to the surface rather than crash dieting and crash coursing your way through this game? Invest in yourself, 16, 18, 24 week bulk or cut, where you can do it in a nice, slow, controlled manner and ultimately see how your body responds to certain things. And funnily enough, when you do it this time around and then you do an 18-week bulk or cut and then you come back second time around, it's not the same because you're not the same person anymore. So every day is a school day. Every day is an opportunity to do a little bit more, a little bit different. But those guys who were, hey, I was lean at school and I did this, so I'm going to do it now when I'm 50, good luck. You're struggle bussing. Your body's not the same. Your hormones aren't the same. Your sleep schedule, your stress, nothing is the same as when you were 18 years old. So why would you think it would work at 50? You're not the same human. So pay attention to yourself. Like most people stop learning when they left school. That's stupid. Keep paying attention to what you're doing. Keep learning yourself. Keep learning your body. Keep learning how you respond to certain things. And then implement that on a daily basis. If you guys need more information about cutting, bulking, hormones, stress, sleep, anything in between, shoot us a message or drop a DM below. Be more than happy to help you out and get you on your way. But don't crash diet this stuff. You're better than that. Please like, subscribe, share. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers for now.